is Geraldine Harton. We are here today for code enforcement proceedings. I am your special magistrate. It is April 9th, 2026. The time is now 3:07 p.m. So we're going to begin. Before we call the first case, anyone here who's going to provide testimony, please raise your right hands to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. If the county please call their first case.
First case is going to be case number 001-2026, and that is going to be Mr. Kyler Cruz. A code violation was discovered on his non-homestead property located in Sanderson. His violations are for motor vehicles and or parts thereof, discarded objects and debris, and nuisance. Mr. Cruz was unable to be here today. However, he did send information to you to state his case.
Okay. I am looking at an email that was sent in on Tuesday, 31st, 2026.
Correct.
So with regard to his property on 8716 County Road 127 in Sanderson, 32087, it says that he has a tenant in the property and he is initiating eviction proceedings for that tenant. He's provided a copy of a 3-day notice to pay rent or vacate. And then I see that he sent a picture of the property. So he is aware that this is going on. It looks like he's taking steps to try to fix it. I do see your pictures from
This morning.
There are some things there. It looks like they're piled up on trailers, maybe getting hauled off.
In fairness to Mr. Cruz and I have been working together for quite some time. And it's in the very beginning, there were some significant steps taken. And as time has gone on, those forward increments have diminished. And so throughout the process, Mr. Cruz and I have communicated, but it's just reached a point where the tenant no longer believes, I don't think, that anything's going to happen, and so progress has kind of stalled.
So does do we know if the owner has actually filed an eviction case yet? I see they've got the 3-day notice, but
That part I do not have information on as of yet.
all right, so I'm going to give him a little bit of time to, if he's going to pursue that. It looks like he may have been thinking about it with the 3-day notice. So I'm going to give him 60 days to bring this property into compliance. That should give him plenty of time to file for an eviction, hopefully get an order and get this
And that's
moving.
calendar days?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll find that he's not in compliance, but give him 60 days to come into compliance.
Okay.
All right, and the next case?
Next case is going to be case number 002-26, and this is against the property owner, Miss Kayla Flint. There is also a tenant on this parcel. A violation was discovered on this non-homestead property back in January, and the violations are for animals that are not permitted within the zoning district, other animals, terms, and nuisance.
Okay. Is Miss Kayla Flint here? Are you Miss Kayla Flint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're the property owner?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right, so tell me what's going on with the property.
That-
Can I speak up for her?
Well,
on
I've
this?
asked her first, so let her talk first, and then I will get to you, sir. What is your name?
David Pimbleton.
I would rather you speak with him because he knows more about what's going on. 'Cause he lives there.
Okay. Let's go ahead and state your name again one more time.
David Pimbleton.
David Pimp? Okay.
First thing, I actually kind of want to object to this proceedings because there's actually a case right now due to due process violations, also selective enforcement, and there's actually an active case in the circuit court and in the federal courts on this exact matter.
Okay, well, what,
And she's been served.
okay, well, what did you file?
A complaint and an injunction,
Okay, has the injunction been ruled upon?
not yet.
Yes, ma'am, it has. It was ruled upon this morning and it was dismissed.
Okay, so do you have,
And
I'm sorry?
not in the federal court, it wasn't.
Federal court, there is not a case.
Okay. That is.
But in the, no, sir, there's not. We've looked it up. And the documents that you served us with were blank. But in circuit court, that's the one that was ruled on this morning and dismissed.
Okay, all right, so there isn't a current injunction and there is a civil case pending. What's the civil case regarding?
It's due to the due process and because I actually had, my animals that were there were actually emotional support animals that were prescribed through a psychiatrist. She was given notice of that in December by certified mail. And she failed to completely even acknowledge it, do reasonable accommodations, do anything. So the animals that were there were actually show pigs, but they were also my emotional support animals. So that was, you know, it's also selective enforcement from the vantage point, which she does have in those documents that I served her the other day, that I do have a video of that were not blank, me serving it to her. Every single property around me, from where she could see it, it has major violations, like major violations. And she has 6 times been out to my house and has yet failed to even talk to anybody else. And then the buildings that she's talking about as well, she actually, well, the first time she closed it down last year, she acknowledged that those buildings were, like the shelters, not buildings, but shelters, that they were already pre-existing, and all I did was fix them up a little bit, fix a few pallets, and then she's making a big deal about it this time. But yet, in her own writings, she acknowledged that they were there before, when she closed the case.
Okay.
So now it's kind of like a harassment.
Well, no, I'll tell you this. So with code enforcement, right, it's not, the county doesn't drive around and inspect properties. The county acts when a complaint has been filed. So it's not selective. It is someone has filed a complaint against your property saying that there's code enforcement violations. So that's what causes the county to act and for code enforcement to go out and look at your property. Now, the county's able to go out and look at your property, and they can look at it from any point where they have a legal right to be. So if they can see it from the road, if the neighbor says, hey, come in my backyard and look over here, then they can do that. So anything she sees at that point that is a violation, then she is duty bound to write up what so it's not harassment and it's not selective enforcement. Someone has filed a complaint and she is doing her job when she's going out to enforce.
And I agree with that, but also on the flip side of that, when it's obviously in your face when you're right there, 6 different times, you're obligated to also take enforcement, especially when it's like a trailer that's
No,
got
sir.
all of it.
No, sir. If you want to file a
Oh, I
complaint,
did. She has a complaint.
okay. Well, no. If you want to file a complaint against your neighbors,
She has that too.
okay. Well, then those are separate cases that she can handle. They have nothing to do with the enforcement of your case. Those are other cases, and she'll handle those. And if they don't comply, then they'll have to come in front of me like what you are right now. Okay.
Okay, but also, can I provide this to you?
Sure. What is it?
The property is in complete compliance, and here's photos and everything.
Okay. So my understanding is this property is in residential. It's zoned residential. Is that
Okay,
correct?
if this is in regard, what number, nursery? If that's in regards to the bees, he is correct. The bees are falling under apiary, and that is correct. The bees are allowed.
So is a nursery.
So is a what, sir?
Nursery, the plant nursery.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think this is with regard to pigs.
Right.
Huh?
This is with regard to the pigs.
The pigs have been gone before she even filed a complaint with you. They've been gone since
Well, she
January.
didn't file a complaint. Okay, so let's be clear.
Well, I mean, before
Right,
she
whoever
did this
filed the complaint.
yes.
Right.
They've been gone.
Uh-huh.
The only thing she's talking about was like the shed because it was setback. But that was there prior to us even, like, that was all grown up. And when I cleared it out, it was there. And I just kind of like fixed it. And like I said, she acknowledged.
I'm
she had
sorry,
closed
the pigs
case
have been
before.
gone since when?
Early January. Right after you gave me that first notice, they were gone. But once again, you never even acknowledge all the paperwork I sent in for the ESA, which falls under Fair Housing Act.
Well, there's a couple of different things, Mr. Pembleton, and one of the things, I'll be honest with you, one of the things that frustrates me is that throughout this process, you have never picked up the phone and reached out to me to ask me questions. All of this could have been avoided, because this is the one place I don't like to bring anybody, because it's a drain on the county's resources and finances. So that's first. Second, in documents that I have sent to you, in the letters that I have sent to you, I have pointed out when you have cited wrong statutes and you refuse to acknowledge that. I have acknowledged the work that you were doing. I acknowledged that I had noticed that a lot of cleanup had taken place. But at the end of the day, you are in a residential neighborhood that does not allow pigs under any circumstances.
So let me ask you this then, why 438 feet away is there two horses on an acre and a quarter of land and they're right at the road and you haven't said nothing about them? Why is there
Because
free range
again, nobody
chickens?
has lodged a complaint. I have to go out when I
have to, yeah.
receive a complaint,
Well, you can't lodge a complaint like here, you have to do it in writing.
I can't
which
do
he
it.
has.
Okay.
He has, but again, that has nothing to do with you.
But it's not fair. And you know, originally those were terminal projects that were for my 11-year-old son. And that's what started this entire thing. That was a 4-H project,
Mhm.
the very first ones. And
Okay,
now-
well, let's do this, okay? You said the pigs are gone, they haven't come back. All right, so if the pigs are gone and she can go on and inspect and make sure the pigs aren't there, then that takes care of that issue. So then it's a non-issue so long as she can verify that the pigs aren't there.
Pigs
And-
were there and gone in 25,
Okay,
and they disappeared for a little while and came back,
After
which
I
is
sent you
why
that-
we got,
okay.
After I sent that ESA paperwork to you,
Well, that's fine. They're gone now, and now you know they need to stay
I have-
gone, okay?
certified mail.
Okay, well, right, the pigs need to stay gone. So, and then what other, and here's the other thing too, if, as I'm going through this, sir, or if you ever receive any more notices from the county, the best thing for you to do is if you fixed the violation is to call and say, this is no longer here. The pigs are, ma'am, the pigs are gone, right? And if she would have known that and been able to verify it back in January, we would have never scheduled this hearing for that particular issue, okay? So if there's anything remaining other than the pigs, I see there's, you know, the structures that we're talking about, whether they're permitted or not. Is there an issue with them being grandfathered in?
I can tell you they're not grandfathered in, because I
Okay.
do have pictures of the property from back in 23 and 21, and
Okay.
those structures were not there.
Man, in 23, 21, that was so grown up, you couldn't see 2 feet into that property. I got pictures
That's
too.
my point. I
That
have
was grown.
pictures
So
that those
when I
were not
cleared it
there.
out, there was structures inside of it,
Okay?
as well as many dead fruit trees and all kinds of stuff. And there also, that, the neighbor behind me, their shed encroaches my property.
Well, that's gonna be a civil matter, because that's boils down to a property line dispute. You say your property line is in a different place than they think it is. So that's gonna be a civil matter and has nothing to do with code enforcement.
I mean, they built the thing without a permit, and it's not meeting setback.
Okay, well, again, we're talking about someone else's property, which has nothing to do with what I'm here today.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here today to handle your situation. So we're not gonna go back and forth about someone else's property anymore. I've said it now 3 times, at least, that we are here to discuss your property, not somebody else's. If you have a complaint to make, you know how to do it, because you've made a couple of them, all right? And then we'll handle those on a separate matter, but today is your day, all right? And for us to discuss what's left on your property now that the pigs are gone, it appears that it's structures that are not permitted, and if you can, which structures, are we referring to these?
This
structures?
is actually brand new. I have no idea
No.
what that's supposed to be, because that has not been there previously.
Okay.
this was not there previously, that was not there previously. This has been there, but I think everything below it has been altered.
Okay.
Like I said, I did make repairs to it, and I did put some tin on top of the roof. But all that bottom was there.
Well, sir, if you
But-
want to come here and see what we're talking about.
I know exactly what
okay.
she's talking about.
Okay.
But if you look at the new picture I just sent you, I tore all that down just to make her happy. And there's one little tool thing I left out there, which is under the Right to Farm Act. I don't need a permit, and it's under 120 square feet.
Okay, but you're not in an agricultural area. You're,
But it's still, I have a permit. I'm a licensed nursery and I'm a licensed apiary. So I do fall into that.
No, not, for the
Show me.
bees, yes.
Okay,
For the
so-
bees, yes.
I have beehive stuff under it.
Okay.
And it's under 120 square feet. And it meets the setback requirement.
What, I'm sorry, 120 square feet?
Yeah, there's actually a code that says.
Are you looking at Baker County, Oregon, which is what you have
No,
a
that
tendency to
was the very
cite?
first time. So you keep going.
No,
Hey,
I
hey,
have it
hey,
in the
let's-
documents you just
Very-
submitted.
okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna speak one at a time. All right? We're gonna act like this is a proceeding. And we're going to not get into back and forth into arguments. So, sir, you've talked about the structures having, being under the Right to Farm Act, and they are being used for your bees and your nursery?
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
you have
And it's
permit.
just one little 6x8. I cut everything else down. I took everything that was on the back fence on the property line. I took all that down.
Mhm.
I made everything compliant. As you see, the pictures are right there.
Second page of pictures, you'll see, there's the beehive.
Okay. Okay. All right, okay. So I see where the beehive is, and then there's another structure right here that's like green.
Yeah, that's on skids.
That's on, so what?
It's on skids,
Okay,
so it's movable and portable.
okay. So is that going to be moved somewhere else then, or is that,
No, I'm just going, for right now, it's gonna be right there. 'Cause I'm working on it. It's just a smokehouse for a hobby.
And then that, he's been told can't be there.
What?
okay. There is a,
A trailer, registered trailer? So why can't everybody else, that's crazy. That's a
It
trailer
can't be
that
in the
has a
front of
tag
the,
on
it can't be in the front of the house.
It's
Okay.
not in front of the house. That's on the side of my house. Matter of fact,
So-
behind a fence. Like, there's a chain link fence there, and then it's behind that chain link fence.
That's not behind, that's in front.
No, there's two of them, ma'am.
Do you wanna come look
Yes,
at
I
this?
do.
That picture right there from
Yeah.
this morning, that's in front.
Ma'am, there's
the
another
fence.
fence right here. I just took this part right here down. There's a fence that goes all the way across there. So it's actually on the side of
You're
my
not allowed
house.
to have tagged vehicles in your yard?
Yes, that is definitely a tag trailer. That is 100% legal. It's on the side of my house.
okay, so I think this is what we need to do, is that the county needs to go out and verify all that you're saying. You know, that this is on the side of your house, that this one building right here is just is a project, smokehouse, it's movable, and it's not
Sounds
something
good.
that's, a structure that needs to be permitted. And then the pigs are gone, and then there are, it says other animals, are there any other animals?
The pigs are considered other
Other,
animals,
okay.
but now, in interest of full disclosure, last year, there were
Yes, last
rabbits,
year.
goats, chickens, turkeys.
Yes, I went a little extreme last year.
Yeah, there was a lot more, in addition to pigs as well.
Okay. But those
And
are all-
so this go around, it has only been pigs that
Okay.
I've been able to confirm.
Okay, so, I mean, just so we know, there's, you know, those animals aren't allowed to be there.
Well, small livestock can be, right? Like rabbits, chickens. So no chickens can be out there?
Not in that particularly
Okay.
zoned,
We could handle that. I
zoned
noticed.
neighborhood. All right, and then, terms and nuisances is the other, is the last.
Yeah,
What is
and that's
that one?
just relating to, the animals, I believe. Hang on one second.
Yeah, nuisance. I mean, that refers to wild fowl and all that. That's not, falls under livestock. Like I said, those were emotional support animals that were never addressed.
We got, nuisance, attractive nuisance, which I'm assuming is the
Yeah,
Does
any
it
attractive
say-
nuisance which may prove detrimental to children, whether in a building, on the premises of a building, or in an unoccupied lot. This includes any abandoned wells, shafts, basements, or excavations, abandoned refrigerators and motor vehicles, or any structurally unsound fences or structures, or any lumber, trash, fences, debris, or vegetation which may prove a hazard for inquisitive minors. And number 8, which is whatever renders air, food, or drink unwholesome or detrimental to the health of a human being as determined by the county health officer.
Okay, so was there like trash burning or something that was the?
That was, I believe, addressed by forestry. We are currently under a burn ban and have been for, I believe it's been at least a month, maybe 6 weeks, I think. But the one time I went out and there was an active fire burning, I referred that to forestry because that's their
And he came out and
division.
talked to me, and he said I was in compliance. It was just wood burning, and it was not burn ban at that time. There was a lapse. It was burn ban, there was an open, and then it was burn ban. So it was during that lapse when it was lifted. He was fine with it.
All right, so this is what we're going to do, like I said.
Nuisance animal, man, like, come on, it's
Look, I get
It's
it,
not-
okay?
it's not dangerous. It's
I-
4-H project.
Right, and I get it, right, and but it's gone, it's, you know, your residential area, it's not zoned appropriately to have farm animals. And so they're just not allowed to be there, but it's been taken care of, so it's not an issue. But what we do need to do is go to the house and make sure that all of that is taken care of, and it
Wasn't she
is
just
what
there
you
this
said.
morning?
She was there this morning, but she has some questions about, you know, some of the things that she took pictures of, for instance, like the trailer that you're saying is tagged and on the side.
It's on-
She's
obviously on the
verifying,
side.
and then
It's like,
she's
how does she
gonna,
not know that?
hey, and then she's
I
gonna,
know that it's on the side. I'm disputing the hole in front of the fence behind the fence
It's
because
between
it's
two fences.
clearly in front of the fence.
Clearly,
Yeah,
it's in between two fences.
okay, well, you know, from what, I don't see a fence in front of it, I
Let me see,
mean,
I'll
but
have a picture
it's,
for you.
it's just from could be where the picture is, and depending on where
Yeah, 'cause
where
it-
you stand. If it needs to be moved though, when she goes out there, she can tell you, just move it behind that second fence. I mean, you got plenty of room back there. And then she'd need to verify that that one green building is, that it's not a building that needs to be permitted, and that you said you've cleaned some things out. So if there's anything else that's left there that needs to be done, she can tell you, you know, what else needs to be done, okay? Now,
And you can see clearly right through here. There's a fence right here, back here, and if you look right through here, there's another fence that goes down and then it curves and comes back. It's about a 20-foot gap in there. It was actually used at one time to hold pigs. So that's what that was for. So I took the front gate down right there so I could put the trailer on the side of the house because it was a smaller gate. So yes, there is almost a 30-foot fence there and about a 10-foot gap missing is what she took a picture of.
do you know what part of the house that is? What's
It's shooting back from the backyard back towards where the trailer's at now.
that? Okay, so I mean.
So
well,
where's the
she's-
trailer?
You can see the edge of it right there. See the rack on top right there? See the edge?
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
that's not the least bit clear.
Well, I mean, you were there. So it's
Yeah, and
pretty obvious. It's-
Okay,
it's-
all right, okay. She's, you know,
I mean, I get it, but I'm irritated because it's like, it's so obvious, but yet there's so many other obvious, and it's like she's shooting at me. It's
what she
very,
what she has to do is, she went out the first time, she saw the violations, she's gotta make sure they get cleaned up. That's her job. That's what she gets paid to do, right? So, and rest assured that for anyone that you've made a complaint on, you've made a complaint on, she's gonna go and investigate them and push just as hard with them as what she's done with you, okay? It's not personal, it is her job. Now, it may feel like it's personal, but it's not, it's her job, it's what she's being paid to do. All right, so, what we're gonna do, I'll, hold on finding this property is not in compliance for the county to go back out there. And I mean, if she goes out there and she says, okay, no, this is not, behind the fence or what have you, just, I mean, move it
I mean,
behind
regardless,
that.
it's still on the side of the house. It's not on the front of the house, and that's what she said herself. Regardless, front, side, behind fence.
It's in
not
front of
fence.
the fence is what I meant, and that anything to the front of the fence is considered the front of the house. It's front yard.
So what if I take the fence down? So the backyard.
And then you behind the house. Okay, so then you're talking about like the front of the house, side of the house, behind the house. It should be like kind of where the house ends, the back part of it, it's the backyard, right? So, and the point is, notwithstanding the complaints that you've made about your neighbors, everyone has an interest in making sure that properties here are clean and safe because it helps property values, right? Everyone wants their property values to be high. If people drive by and they see that there's junk trash and debris laying around, or a bunch of trailers, or what have you, pigs in an area that they're not supposed to be in, then that could decrease property values. And
My house is the nicest house there.
Can I say something?
Also, like when she just, here's an example, I just want to put this out here. She was like, oh, it's a civil matter because about the people behind me. It's obvious they don't meet the setback requirements.
okay, that's
So,
not
like,
her.
that's her
When
job.
when she
No,
says, wait,
property-
hey, when she says that's a civil matter, what she means is it's not for this court. Okay, this court is for the county to handle code enforcement violations. Setback matters and boundary disputes are for the circuit and the county court, which is across the way. Right, that's a complaint that you would need to file specifically against your neighbors. That's not her investigating that, sir.
But she's put it in the write-ups on me.
Well, she's putting write-ups on you, not with regard to,
She put setback
she's
in
saying
there.
that they're your, okay, if she thinks that if items are on your lines, right, if they're on your property and they are not within setback, then that's a violation of code and that falls within her. If you have an issue with your neighbor's, barn or shed or whatever on your property, that's a different issue. That's a different legal issue. Okay? You're saying that someone else has put their stuff on your property. That is something between you and your neighbor, and you have to
On the
you take that
encroachment,
up
I
with
agree
your-
with you. But the setback is still on her.
What are you referring to?
Because the code says, Baker County ordinance says, they have to be 10 feet setback from the back of the property line, 3 feet from the side.
Okay.
So they're definitely not 10 feet regardless. They're
Well-
3 feet onto my property.
Okay. Well, again,
She got protected
okay.
over them. though.
So, no,
Yeah.
again, you were referring to someone else's case. I am not going to talk
No,
about
the
someone
point
else's
was,
case.
is she's definitely selective, is my point towards me.
And we're done with that, okay? I told you already, I don't want to hear about that anymore. We're here dealing with your case, right?
Can I clarify one thing? And again, this goes back to the whole, whenever you got the first letter, had you picked up the phone and called me and we had a conversation, all of this could have been avoided because your questions could have been answered. Any questions I had could have been answered. Baker County does not, she is correct, Baker County does not engage in what is called self-reporting, which is where I get in the truck and I just drive around all day long looking for violations. We don't do that. Someone has to physically call, or in your case, you wrote, and make a complaint. I take that information and I am required to investigate that. I can't take a word of another agency. Like, say, for instance, one of the ones you complained was about a septic. That's not my agency. That's environmental health. But if environmental health goes out there and sees that and sees something else while they're out there that might fall within my purview, they can't take pictures and say to me, hey, you might want to go check this out. I have to receive a formal complaint and I have to go out and I have to check. Now, on top of that, I do not get out of my vehicle. I am required to verify any complaints from what's called the public right-of-way. I'm not allowed to go on your property, and if, let's say for instance, you were the one that called and complained, I'm not allowed to go on your property in order to see his violation. So those are two things that are very important, and I follow to a T, because if anybody ever accuses me of getting out of my vehicle, that is one thing I can say, no, I don't, because I never get out of my vehicle.
I don't know.
So,
So, alright, so if this is on the, if the trailer needs to be moved back, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal just to move it back further, move it back behind the fence.
It
It's
kind
not,
of is, because there's a septic there and all kind of stuff, but it is definitely behind that fence. 100%. The fence has been there 20 years. It's actually grown into the oak tree. It's been there so long.
alright, so what we're, like I said, I'm going to hold judgment. I'm gonna give the county the opportunity to go back out there and to verify what you're saying about, the trailer, the smokehouse, and then was there anything else in these, like what's that?
I have no idea what all of that is.
Is that part of the,
That's the propane tanks that the fire was near the other week, but I'm actually gonna have to ask the building official about that. I've never had to deal with that before,
with the smokehouse?
so I've got to find out what the stipulations are on that.
On the skids. I mean, it falls on the same thing as the shed. You buy one of these rent-to-own sheds and they deliver it and drop it off. It's the same thing. It's not.
Those
not
require a
construction.
permit.
They don't do permits out here.
I work in the building department. Yes, they do.
Okay.
I mean, if they don't pull permits, then they're in violation of the code. Okay, they're supposed to pull permits. All right? So-
Most things require a permit. There are some rare exceptions, but people do at least call to find out.
Okay. So that is what I'm going to do. I will hold on judgment, give the county time to figure out the smokehouse situation, to see whether that is going to require a permit, and to verify that your trailer is far enough back behind the house, okay? And then the pigs are gone, so I'm not going to worry about those, and you've been advised that no farm animals on this property, okay?
Now, you say, well, chickens, why is chickens not allowed? Because I mean, I thought you were allowed to have up to like 12 hens and,
I don't know where you're getting that number.
I mean, I'll point it out to you, but I'm clarifying. I'm asking a question to clarify why.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm
They
saying.
can't
I
be
don't.
free range, I know that, but.
Absolutely, they have to be within an enclosed structure.
Okay, So I
But
can't have 'em.
again, in a residential neighborhood, no, sir, you cannot have them. Your particular zoning district, which is RCMH 1, which is residential, conventional, mobile home, you are not allowed to have. Some zoning districts allow what are called special use permits, and there's a process that you can go through. This particular one, for these particular items, is not one you can go through that process for.
which one, the pigs?
The RCMH 1.
The
For
hens.
pigs and hens and all of that, you cannot go through that. It is not allowed in your zoning
Horses,
district.
Anything? Okay.
One of the other things that, I'm not gonna make that blanket statement. There are parcels that are considered legally non-conforming. What that means is, like, well, for your case, your parcel is a legally non-conforming parcel right now. It is zoned RCMH 1, but you only have a half acre, okay? Now, someone else down the street might be zoned RCMH 1, but they might have 3 acres. So, using that example, they may be able to go through something called a rezoning. Now, granted, there's a process for that and all of that, and that would be handled through the building department. So I'm not gonna make that blanket statement of, no, there's nothing, allowed and or options for people. In this particular case, in your particular parcel and zoning, it is not an option, unfortunately.
for pigs, like, so I can't get a special use permit for chickens
No,
in it?
not in your zoning district, no.
Because you only have half an acre. Okay, all right, so with that, if you have any other questions about what your property can or cannot be used for, then go, visit the building department, ask them specifically, and they can tell you what you can, what you can't do, or what you need to do in order to be able to do what you want to do. But as far as these complaints are concerned, I've made my ruling, that I'm going to hold off. I'm going to give the county a little bit of time to determine what to do with that smokehouse and to make sure that that trailer is moved far enough back.
And I'm sorry, how long did you say?
How long do you, well, I'm not going to make a ruling just yet.
Right.
So,
So,
finding that that she is or is not in compliance, because we don't know whether this is something that requires a permit or
right,
or
right.
not.
So do we
for
want to
you.
do 30?
Yeah, I mean, if you get back with me in 30 days to make
Okay.
sure that it's all,
Yeah, that's your copy right there, you can keep that right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew about the bees.
yeah, and that's not part of this.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Yeah,
with,
and that's all under ag too, though, it's just weird.
Uh-huh.
And so is the nursery, but I can have that, but I can't have that, it's.
all right, well, we are adjourned. Thank you.